Hello and welcome back to another video. So I'm not doing a nighttime video today, even though it would be quite apt since it's coming out on Halloween, but I was editing this video last night and I realized that I had forgotten to do an introduction, and sure, I couldn't do the video without an introduction, and just with the evenings being dark now, I couldn't even do it in the bright. So I fed everyone this evening, so I said I'd record the introduction. So I hope you enjoy it, and happy Halloween everyone. So the first job on for the day was to fix this leaking trough. So we moved this down and that was not the cause of the leak, surprisingly enough. There was just a small little rubber seal there gone. It was a bit finicky to fix it, but we got the pieces sent down anyway, and it was actually grand in the end. I'm just getting the water out there now to test it. It filled up to the level, so it was just a case of putting the top back on and it was job done. So put that off for about 2 months, and then it was on to fixing just the wrecking that the calves did the last time they were in the shed. We're going to have to do a more permanent job than what we're doing now with this, because especially the stores now, they're so big and strong and they're fighting for the meal and they're just breaking it too easy. So I must get Dad to come up with something else, but here I am just getting ready to patch it up. And just so everyone knows, Dad gave out to me for the way I cut the timber in my previous video, or the one before it, I think. So that was not the way he taught me to do it. This is the way he taught me to do it. I just had a momentary lapse. So here I am just patching up what needs to be done. So I'll let you have a look at this. Now I am back out this morning and we have the yearlings in. They were no bother, straight out and in the back door there. So they came in yesterday, so today now I'm going to weigh them and I'm going to do their backs and tails. I will do the cows' backs and tails as well, but they don't need to be weighed because they were only weighed maybe 4 or 6 weeks ago. But we'll get an idea of where these guys are at, just so that we can monitor them then with how they're getting on with their gains in terms of the feed that we're giving them and whatnot. You will see poor little Pippi is up there on her own. Her leg, if anything, has gotten worse. As you can see there, she's just not comfortable at all. So we have the guy who brings the cattle to the factory coming today to have a look at her to see if it's worth our while sending her to the factory at all. But if it's not, she's going to have to be put down, unfortunately. It's just not nice to look at her, you know. I think she is probably in pain now at this stage. She spends all her time lying down. She did get up there now for her nuts, which is good. But yesterday when she came in, I brought nuts to her. She stood up for maybe a minute and had to lie back down again. And I'd say that's what she's going to do there now again. And I actually had to just bring the nuts into her and she ate them lying down. So look, you don't like to see that. We were hoping she'd be okay for the winter. We'd leave her in there with the weanlings when they come in, but yeah, you don't want to see any animal suffering, and to be honest, I think now she is. So yeah, we'll just have to let her go, but I think it's for the best for her. So yeah, look, myself and Rob are going to set up the weighing scales there now anyway. I have my clippers charging, so we'll get into that now, and hopefully it stays dry for us. Now I am back down here after a quick outfit change because I was absolutely destroyed in cow hair after that. The wind was just blowing it all over me, and they are some hairy mollies. But anyway, we beat the rain as well. It has started, but we beat it when we were doing that, so we played a blinder, and in fairness, everyone was so well behaved. It was less than 45 minutes to do the whole lot, which was great. So the first thing I did was I ran all of these guys out of here, kept them at the bottom of the crush, and just walked them up one by one for the weights. When they were done being weighed, they came back in here, and Rob was on the gate just to let them in. Then when they were all done, I ran them all back out and then pushed them all up the crush together just so that we could pack them in a bit tighter, and it just made clipping the backs a lot easier. Did the same with the cows then, just ran them all down and ran them up the crush. In terms of the weights, they were grand. They were nothing amazing, but they're good. They're all gaining, and in fairness, they all looked well. I'll show you what the weights are there and everything with them if I haven't already done so while I'm weighing them. But I was happy with them, just there's obviously no standout ones, and that is not surprising because they were probably weighed, I think it was about 6 weeks ago, maybe 7 weeks ago at this stage, and there's just no feed value in the grass out there anymore. So we weren't feeding them any nuts or anything, it was just the grass, so it's not really surprising that they weren't gaining massively. Hopefully now, with the bit of silage and the nuts that we'll be giving them, that they'll pick up a little bit. But everyone is doing well and looked really well. But one thing that I found interesting doing the weights is the twins. So here we ring our bull calves at about 5 or 6 days old, less than a week old anyway, we ring them. The main reason why we do that is basically because it's handier for me. It's easier for me to handle them at that stage, and I'll just ring them while I'm tagging them. Whereas before, when we were squeezing them, we had to go to the bother of getting them all in, separating the bulls from the heifers. Then we'd have to get the vet out because there's no way I would tackle that when they're about 250-ish kg, because that's what they would be at about that time when you'd be squeezing them. So that's why we started ringing them. But I do get an awful lot of questions and comments about ringing bull calves, because the opinion out there generally is that ringing them is no good, that it stunts their growth too much. And I do not dispute that at all, it does. But I think I have a good example with my set of twins here. So for the purpose of this example, Bert came out bigger, okay, and then Ernie came out smaller. Bert was castrated at about 5 or 6 days old with the ring, and it worked all good, no more Leroding. Then I also castrated Ernie with the ring at the same time, but it did not work. I obviously just didn't do it right, and some people will have seen the videos of me explaining that before. But anyway, turns out he was not castrated. We did not know that immediately, but we did notice very quickly that Ernie was developing a lot quicker than Bert. You could just see the muscle on him. And so then kind of started to ring alarm bells after a good few months of like seeing this bullock that really looked like a bull in terms of his development. Although he's short, he was just very muscular compared to his brother. And then one day, obviously, I noticed that there was something between his legs that shouldn't be there, and we squeezed him. So we actually wouldn't have squeezed him until the following spring, so he would have been about the 12-month mark. So that is old for squeezing him anyway, but that's when he was castrated. Well, we think he was castrated when he was squeezed, but he was still showing a lot of tendencies that I would not expect to see with someone who was squeezed. So then the vet also banded him. So then he was definitely sorted, okay? Now, I just want to show you the comparison between the weights. So I have it written on my hand here. So they were weighed in March, and the difference between the two of them was 47 kgs. So Ernie, the one who wasn't castrated, was 47 kgs heavier than the one that was castrated by ringing. Then we weighed them again in late August, and the difference between the two was 24 kg. So again, Ernie was still 24 kg heavier than Bert. Today, when we weighed them, Ernie is 8 kg heavier than Bert. So you can see the gap narrowing, and that gap has narrowed since this guy was castrated. So my dad claims that, look, they're two different animals. Ernie is like just very short and stocky and muscular, whereas Bert is a little bit taller but just doesn't have that width or that muscle. But for me, you can't get a closer comparison than twins. I mean, they were born on the same day, same cow, same bull. So for me, it's the closest thing I can compare. And I do think it's very interesting that the gap was so big, but now it's narrowed. So really, in March, we were kind of comparing a bull to a bullock, which you obviously cannot do because there is always going to be better development in a bull. But then after he was castrated, just the difference there in August to have it more or less halved to 24 kg, and now it's a third of what it was at 8 kg. The difference, realistically, the two of those boys are probably going to head out of here weighing more or less the same. So yeah, of course, if I was selling them as weanlings, I wouldn't want to ring them because I would want them to develop as quickly and as much as I could before I sell them. So that totally makes sense. But for us, when we're finishing them, I just don't see the difference between ringing them and squeezing them. And I think this kind of proves it. And I have seen that before as well, in terms of before we used to squeeze and now we ring, and we haven't had any difference in the weights of the animals. These past few years, we've had our heaviest animals yet. So I just thought it was interesting, and it's a nice one to be able to compare because they are identical. So that's that. That's my 2 cents. If you disagree, do let me know, and let me know what you think about my comparison. Because I do know some people are just dead set on squeezing and that's it, and not ringing. But then other people have told me they've chanced it since they've seen my videos and things and it's worked for them. So let me know your opinions. But something caught my eye there while I was talking, and I don't know, can you see it, but I'll show you a closer look. I still haven't put the downpipe on the gutter from the last day because I still haven't asked Dad where it is, and he's the only man who seems to know where it is. But the water is pouring out of that there. So surely that is good news. Surely that means that I have enough of a slant in my gutters that I put in the last day and it's working. So I am absolutely delighted to see that. I'd be very worried now if there was nothing coming out there. So yeah, happy with that. But anyway, I'm going to get on. I put a bale in earlier for the guys just to keep them happy while I was gone away. But I'm going to push that bale down to the cows now, and I'm going to get another bale in for the yearlings because I'm heading to Galway tomorrow for the night, and I just want to make sure they have plenty. Now I'm sure that will probably do them, but you know, no, you don't want them to be too tight either. So I'm going to do that. And Pippi is going to the factory, so I'm not sure when he's going to take her, but I'll try and keep this video going until she goes and I can give you an update then. If she doesn't go in the next few days, look, I'll have to get the video out anyway and I can update you in a further video. But yeah, look, it's an awful shame to see her go. And she's faced away from us now, but she has the cutest little face. You know, usually when they're going to the factory, they're, you know, that bit older and they lose the cuteness kind of, you know, you're still fabulous, but they lose the cuteness, whereas she still kind of has that young animal cuteness, and oh, it kind of breaks my heart thinking about it, so I won't think about it too much. It's for her own good. We don't want to see any suffering. So anyway, I'll get this bale in and I'll come back then hopefully with an update on her. Now it's a few days later, but unfortunately Pippi still hasn't been collected. I'm hoping she'll be collected now in the next day or two, and sure, look, I'll give an update when she does go. But yeah, hopefully sooner rather than later. She's the same, you know, she's not any worse, but she's the same. She got up there and ate most of her nuts, and then I had to go in with the bucket so that she could finish it off. That's kind of what I'm doing with her every day now. So yeah, we don't want to see her in pain any longer, so I'm hoping in the next day or two she'll be gone. But anyway, I will leave this video there. Thanks again for watching. If you liked it, give me a like, and if you haven't already done so, please subscribe. Thank you.